Hey guys, we got something interesting for you today. I picked up a Model Y and I'm going to be towing for one of my side businesses. Now, I haven't started yet. You can see the Model Y recognizes that the trailer is hooked up, and I'm going to give you guys a real world estimate in 50 degrees Michigan weather. How many miles do I get traveling on the highway? Just for some context, I'm going to be traveling 60 miles per hour, if not 65. I did that before with my gas truck, my Silverado, just because it's a little safety precaution when trailering, and anybody that's a smart person that trailers will tell you that. Stay tuned for the rest of the video. So we made it without any issue to the venue. 46-mile drive, just like navigation says. I used 33 kilowatt hours, and the watt hours per mile was through the roof, 713. And we're still at 56%. And when I put the round trip home, I'm not going to do it on screen because I don't want you guys to know where I live. Essentially, it was saying I would get back with 22%, probably would drop closer to about probably 10 to 15%. Now, luckily for me, when I take events and gigs for my business, I make sure that it's, less than an hour or less. I can do more, but usually it costs a lot more, and I don't cater to that very niche market of people that pay that much. I do run a higher end business for what I do, and towing my trailer and stuff. However, it's not up to the point where people call me for 3-4 hours. It's usually local. So within an hour of driving, because it took me just about 55 minutes to get here, it towed the Tesla with 3,200 pounds in the trailer. With 1 hour of driving, or just about an hour, 55 minutes, it towed my trailer that has 3,200 pounds in it. No issue, no struggle, pulls it way, way better than a gasoline SUV. Now, the reason you guys might be shocked about this efficiency, and I'll bring up the graph. As you can see, it's estimating I have 65 miles left, which I can make it home no problem because I only live 46 miles from here. Let me show you my trailer, and you'll probably figure out why. So this is your standard utility trailer, 12 by 6. Now, for those of you that know trailering, this is not efficient at all. A lot of the range tests that you're going to see online have the kind of camper trailers, or the, I forget the brand, but it starts with Air. And those ones are made a lot more efficient. They're less taller, so there's probably a lot better drag coefficient. This is not efficient by any means. It hooks up no problem. Everything right here you can see from the actual hookup is great. It takes a little bit more time to hook up the kind of wire for the brake lights and the tow hitch, and where you pull in the chains to hook them up. No issue, but I just want to show you guys the actual trailer. This is not an efficient trailer, so that also plays a role. Like I said, if I didn't say earlier, it's also 50 degrees outside in Michigan, and it's a little bit hilly where I was, so that also plays a fact. So we have now made it home. It's about 1:30 in the morning, and we have some interesting stats here. So to the venue and back, I did 93 miles, 59 kilowatt hours. I've been charging for about 5-10 minutes now, and I got home with 18%. A little bit of it was city driving, but mostly highway. There was a supercharger, if I did mention before, halfway through the drive. So if I was afraid, I could have stopped and supercharged to like 30-40%, 50-60%, or at the time it would have been 50-60%. Could have charged a little bit just to be safe, but I decided to chance it, and I made it home with 18%. To show you guys the graph, I could have gone an extra 29 miles. So if you are doing the math, 29 in about 120 miles. Now, when I got to the venue, the watt hours per mile was above 700, right above there. Now, it was closer to 634. So I think it was very windy when I was going to the gig and the event. So I think that plays a role. And on the way home, there wasn't as much wind. But still, it did its job. For me, my final thoughts, in my opinion, I think it did pretty good. Range, I'm kind of getting what people are saying online, 120, 150, but you're really kind of cutting it close to the battery. below 20% and below. I think with Cybertruck and, future Tesla products is going to tow a lot better as the batteries get better. Cybertruck should pull double if we're doing our math. So this gets 330 miles, referring to the Model Y. And if we are thinking about the Cybertruck in the numbers that we were seeing online, if it's true, you would times that by 2, that'd be 660. So let's say the Cybertruck was get 600. Now, they was advertised 500 miles, but patents a few years ago showed it that they had 600 miles on it. So if you, do 120 times 2, that's 240. Let's, knock off, let's say 25 for it being 500 mile range. And, you would get close between 200 and 250. Around there, I'm sure the efficiency of the 4680 batteries would be better with, the Cybertruck and all that fun stuff. However, will be a lot more better in towing range, but also a lot less stressful because you know you're able to make it. And plus you have the superchargers. Even with this situation, in my personal opinion, I think it's worth it for me because I was spending about $2,700 a year to tow my Silverado. If I had 2 events in a row, 2 gigs in a row, it would cost me about, $75 a weekend. You times that by 4, that's $300-400 a month. 9 months out of the year I work. That comes to like $2,500 to $2,600. You do that math, charging at home with 11 cents per kilowatt hour and charging, let's say 59. I didn't set it to 100. I set it to 90 for the charge rate. You do that $12 a weekend because it would be, if I'm doing my math correctly here, if you're doing 11 cents per kilowatt hour times, let's just say 59 because that's what we have here, that's $6.49. Times 2 days to do that, that's $12.99. Times 4 weekends, you're looking at $51 a month times 9 months because that's what I work out of the year. It's $467 versus $75 a weekend times 4 weekends times 9 months. You see it's $2,700 minus excuse me guys, I'm a little tired here, but the 4, I think it was a little bit less or more, 472 number, I'm saving $2,228 there. I think for cutting it close, I think it's worth it there. And, that's just my thoughts. It might not be worth it for everybody else, but I don't really travel and do events outside an hour. And if I do, I can stop at a supercharger because every major highway in Michigan has a supercharger no matter where I go near any major city. Detroit, Flint, Saginaw, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Battle Creek, you name it, there's a supercharger here and they're only building it. I hope you found this video very interesting and informative, but I didn't do any crazy math or anything besides the tired 2 a.m. math that you saw here. That number might be a little bit off by $10 or $20. But I think the savings is worth it because if you do that savings over, for example, 7 years, that's $15,000 that I would have to put in for gas, right? So now all of a sudden a $65,000, Model Y becomes a, just doing some math here, more of a $50,000 Model Y, right? I think of it that way. Not everybody agrees with that mentality, but let's see what Cybertruck is going to do next year. A week ago, the Giga Press was brought into Port Austin, Port Houston, whatever that one it is, and it is going to be set up here shortly.